I don't see anything that's really falling much.
You don't see any debris falling from the buildings.
I see a round snowball. I call this a snowball because it's nice round and it's light colored.
Okay, so there's no debris falling in that picture.
I didn't say no debris.
Oh, how much debris?
That's it. I don't.
What debris is falling in that picture?
I see some.
Judy, it's Jim from Madison. Just as Bob was talking about the subtitle of your book, isn't that your theory? I mean, evidence that directed free energy technology was responsible for the destruction of the Twin Towers? I mean, why would you not call that a theory?
Evidence is not theory. You can look those words up in the dictionary.
Judy, I know a lot about the words. That's my profession as a philosopher, and I'm also puzzled by your statement, empirical evidence is a truth that theory must mimic. If a theory is mimicking the empirical evidence, then it's just replicating it. What this should say is empirical evidence is a truth that theory must explain. Don't you purport to have an explanation for the data?
Dr. Wood? Are you with us?
Let me add one final point, Bob, and then you know, if Judy wants to continue talking, but not to me, that's fine. If the theory is that directed free energy technology was responsible for 9/11, then unless she maintains that these 19 Islamic fundamentalists were responsible for that directed free energy technology, she actually does have some beliefs about who was responsible. I found it very odd that she would open with the claim that she had no beliefs about whether the government was or was not responsible here, when who else than the American military and the American government could possibly be responsible for the destruction of the Twin Towers using directed free energy technology. And I'll let you guys have your conversation, Bob, and thanks for having me on.
Thanks for your call. Judy, your response to that?
If you would like to have that caller as a guest on your show, please do that. If you want to give a testimonial. I'm here to present evidence. And there are various folks who want to cover up the evidence, who want to spin it. They are not interested in the truth if they are doing that. That's all I will say.
Okay, but he does raise a legitimate question. Who could be that sophisticated in perpetrating this attack? And we've been looking at the what, to be fair, so I think it's...
I do not speculate as to who did it.
Right.
I'm only discussing the evidence and where the evidence leads and what the evidence will tell us.
Okay, Jim, does that answer your question?
Well, I don't think it does. I mean, it's very strange. Judy has right on her book, evidence of directed free energy technology. That's a theory. There's no way escaping it. It's a theory that is supposed to explain the evidence. She's done a brilliant job of laying out the evidence. And if that's her account, then that's her theory. And if that's her theory, then it certainly implies that 19 Islamic fundamentalists weren't responsible unless she thinks that they could have used directed free energy technology to destroy the World Trade Center, which is absurd. So obviously, her views imply that the government and the military were responsible here. I don't know why she should run away from it, and this isn't a difficult question. I'm not asking anything subtle here. It's very obvious. It's right on the cover of her book. That's her theory.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your input on that. Dr. Judy, you dropped off there. Did you hear what he said?
No, and I don't think this is a fruitful use of time.
Okay.
We could be discussing evidence instead of somebody's spin on how to cover up the evidence.
All right, fair enough.
The book is entitled, Where Did the Towers Go? Evidence of Directed Free Energy Technology on 9/11. Evidence is not theory.
All right, so Jim, do you have a question then in regards to the evidence?
Well, sure. She says it's evidence of. If it's evidence of, then it's evidence of what she takes to explain it. I mean, I'm not trying to spin anything, and it's ridiculous for her to suggest that. If she can't answer a simple, obvious question about her use of the word theory, then that's a problem with her conceptual equipment. There's nothing complicated here. If it's evidence of directed free energy technology, then that's her theory, and it obviously has implications for who could have used such a technology on 9/11. I don't understand why she should run away from it. There's nothing wrong with it. It appears to be right. If her theory is right, the consequences certainly appear to be well-founded. Now, it may be still debatable whether she has the best explanation, but she's certainly done the most to explain the evidence, for which I applaud her. And I'm not trying to spin anything anyway. I'm just asking for conceptual clarification, including about her use of this claim, empirical evidence is a truth that theory must mimic, because what we want is the truth that theory must explain. It's misleading to suggest that the empirical evidence is a truth that the theory must mimic, because that would just replicate the evidence.
All right, fair enough.
And Judy Wood came first on the scene, and she did all these really great calculations disproving the pancake effect and showing how, you know, the building couldn't have pancaked down in the times and the conservation of momentum of the floors and everything. And she kind of came on the scene as a real credible, you know, researcher with some good calculations and information. And then out of nowhere, she came out with the whole theory that the Star Wars defense program could somehow be used, weaponized, to take down large steel frame structures in a coordinated demolition, which was just really beyond my belief personally as a physicist and someone who really understands, you know, the capabilities of these masers and microwave technologies and how they work to, you know, it's essentially like a microwave uses a certain frequency which is tuned exactly to the bond angle in a water molecule so that it heats up water molecules and nothing else. It's sort of the way that the frequency is tuned to these water molecules so that it will heat up the water molecules in your food and won't really heat up other things. And it's the same kind of way that these directed energy weapons, which do exist and were designed by the Star Wars defense program, are used to intercept incoming ICBMs. And they will have these frequencies which are specifically tuned to uranium and plutonium cores, so that they will fry out the core and disable the nuclear device before, you know, it can be intercepted, and before it can, you know, come and do its damage and stuff. And that's sort of how these weapons work. And a lot of these people that really support the DEW theory, I don't think they really understand what energy is and how energy works, because, you know, and any kind of, as Niels Harrit pointed out when he was asked a question about Judy Wood's research, he says that energy is a concept which is used in physics for calculations, and this is an, you know, this isn't like, this is an equal sign in these calculations. It says that, you know, energy before equals energy after, always, and it's exact. It's not, you know, almost this much. It's not like a little bit that much. These are exact calculations for energy, and it's very very exact, and is able to calculate, you know, we're able to calculate exactly how much energy is needed. And he also points out that all weapons that you could even possibly name, except for, with the one exception of biological weapons, all weapons are directed energy weapons of one form or another, because basically that's what you're doing. You're directing energy, and that's where all the interesting physics happens, you know, is when energy is transferred from either one object to another or changes form from one form to another. That's what physics studies, and it studies it exactly using mathematical equations. And these sort of weapons, I pointed out, you know, they do exist. They were developed by the Star Wars defense program for intercepting incoming ICBMs, but they do not have the energetic capabilities, nor the precision and the timing and accuracy and all the other aspects that I've pointed out for taking down a large building like this and vaporizing it. And the technology to do that's never been experimentally demonstrated. It's never been shown that you can have these sort of effects from electromagnetic weapons. And the main thing is the energy calculations. I mean, I've been to Ground Zero. I went there in 2008 for not the anniversary of 9/11. And to see the size of that level of destruction, and to really wrap your head around how much energy it would have required to take those buildings down, that the way they fell, and, you know, completely the pulverization of the concrete, and just the massive destruction that was observed there on 9/11, it defies my logic to believe that this could have been provided by these types of weapons. And I just think it's interesting. That's my whole take on the whole thing. It's the fact that she teamed up with Morgan Reynolds is just even more it's kind of in your face, that these people are the attempted infiltration of the movement, and the fact that she's done more to go on every underground conspiracy radio show across the country than she has to sort of develop scientific validity for her theories. It's just really telling of her agenda, in my opinion.
Oh, sure. Her approach to the whole matter is so much less than scientific. The examples of evidence that she cites are just almost childish. For example, and not only childish, but simply wrong. For example, World Trade Center Building 3, the hotel next to Trade Center Tower number 1.
Yeah, Marriott Hotel.
Yes, it was crushed by the fall of Trade Center number 2, and there are photos of it showing
absolutely.
it before Building 1 fell, and there's a huge gouge taken out of the building as a result of the collision with the debris of Building 2, and Judy Wood has gone everywhere and said that is evidence of a directed energy weapon that just happened to miss the World Trade Center and hit the building next door.
Right, and it missed the
well.
World Trade Center and hit those toasted cars and all the other things she cites. The thing that gets me is if it's inaccurate enough to do that, then how is it accurate enough to take down a building? It's just...
Right. And there are even, in spite of the fact that there are pictures that show the debris crushing the building, she has gone up and said this on national radio, national TV. She's also alleged that the burned cars around Ground Zero are evidence of directed energy that missed the World Trade Center and hit these cars, and said, well, if the directed energy had hit the World Trade Center, as she said, we would also have seen these effects unfolding upon the outer structure of the World Trade Center as this energy was hitting it, if it had hit, as she says.
Right.
There's no evidence of that. So
also,
there's another reason.
I had pointed out...
There's another reason for the cars. There's another reason for the car damage.
There's plenty of other reasons that could explain all the so-called anomalies that she says are suggestive of directed energy weapons, and there's other explanations for all that. I mean, people have commented on the paper. If it was, these thermite explosives, how did it not burn all the paper? And I mean, these were the two largest office buildings in the entire world. I mean, to think that some paper wouldn't survive a demolition is just defies logic. To believe that, of course, that there's going to be paper left over. These were the two largest office buildings. They probably contain more paper than any other single building in New York City.
And I recall also that she was on Coast to Coast AM overnight with George Norrie once discussing these theories, and had made the claim without any valid corroborating evidence that the reason people were jumping from the buildings and taking off their shirts before they had done so was because they had perspired so much in the heat up there that the directed energy weapons caused their shirts to become so painful through heating that they had to remove them, and then they therefore later had to jump out of the buildings because they could no longer stand the energy, the heat created by the energy weapons.
No, that one's pretty ridiculous, but I think I got one that tops that, Aiden, and it was the claim that she made on Coast to Coast AM and with George Norrie. I believe it was in May of 2011. You can look up the episode and listen, and she says this. She claims that the nanothermite that was discovered in the dust is a distraction from directed energy weapons, and that this was just dustified building components and building materials. That somehow that these DEWs that she claims exist have the ability to produce nanothermites and layered nanomatrix nanothermites, that she has a beam weapon that can literally on demand just produce nanothermite.
I think she's crazy like a fox. I believe that one needs to consider the effect that she has upon listeners in order to understand the real clever approach that she may purposely be taken, because when one hears these things, when one layperson, reasonable person hears these things, they will automatically disregard any more plausible discussion of evidence from other credible researchers of this topic.
Right.
And I think that maybe the whole reason for her existence is to scare away the listener from other reasonable people who want to discuss this topic rationally.
That's a good take on it. I mean, it's definitely the whole thing that she comes out so violently attacking nanothermite and trying to debunk and discredit the nanothermite evidence, which is, some of the best evidence that has ever come out for, what could have actually been used to take down the buildings. The fact that she comes out and attacks it so, fiercely and with such illogical claims that, that somehow this beam weapon could have, removed all the steel impurities like manganese and carbon and left it with, and then oxidized it to this, this is Fe3O5 oxidation. This is not just regular iron oxide or rust. This is, super amounts of oxygen had to be pumped into these materials in order to get them to that state. And of course that oxygen is needed for the reaction to take place at a more, high speed. And just to assume that, without any evidence or any sort of, scientific backing or documentation, to assume that this beam weapon could just produce these nanothermites, which have a nanoscale matrix. And as Kevin Ryan shows in his video where he makes the stuff, you need an organic compound for the matrix to adhere to in order to get that sort of nanoscale layering and the lattice structure, really. It's not possible to just do that in midair with some sort of microwave laser. As far as I'm aware, I could be wrong.
I'm just astonished that anyone has taken her seriously, but yet you go to the review sections of her book at Amazon, and there are just so many rabid supporters of her that seem rational, in spite of the fact that her approach and her theories are. I wonder how
many of them are actual, real people, or if there's, disinformation campaigns. Because, I don't necessarily believe that she could be a disinformation agent herself. And as I pointed out, if you read the CIA's documents and how they do these types of things, I refer to page 85 of CIA Diary by Philip Agee. Where he says that, agent is a word that's used to describe people who work at the end of the line. They're not case officers. These are people that, usually foreigners or usually people outside the agency that they can approach and sort of prop up. And the agency will actively seek out these people and prop them up and give them support and through other means, and I'm sure that would explain how she got on every single radio show in North America. And how she got a website up and all this backing and support, a publishing deal and a book.
How she got to Jesse Ventura and amazingly got her disinformation within his program
on mainstream television, And Jesse Ventura is not a scientist. He does not have the technical abilities. And what really just makes me, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around the technical capabilities of this. Of course, he goes and looks at a laser beam and a Van de Graaff generator and concludes that, it's the only logical conclusion that these types of weapons, it must have brought the buildings down. But the fact that Jesse Ventura is a former UDT, underwater demolitions team, that's the, precursor, the frogmen, precursors to the SEALs. He was a Navy SEAL before there were Navy SEALs. The fact that he's an expert in demolition, was trained by the military in demolitions, but yet buys into a theory like that, it's just a little bit weird. I don't understand where that came from. And what I think happened is, these people somehow infiltrated him. I know that he was talking about this on Alex Jones, that he got Judy Wood's book and he started reading it, and that these people really pushed it on him because they're rabid. I've had to block these people from my channel because they will literally fill up 10 comments with their spam about how, awesome Judy Wood is and how much, how all this evidence for nanothermite can be discredited, and none of it's logical or makes sense, but it seems well written and seems well thought out, and to anyone who's not educated looking at that will kind of, be swayed and actually believe this stuff. And I can't imagine that there are people out there that, especially with what I've seen from Cass Sunstein and the advocation of infiltration of cognitive infiltration of conspiracy groups. I can't imagine, this a better example of that in action.
Right.
Than this, because and the main thing is, right, you get to the issue of where did the energy come from, and when I ask these people, I understand that these DEWs exist. I know their capabilities. I know what they're used for. I tell them the analogy I told you about the microwave and the water molecules and the plutonium cores and stuff like that. Where does the energy come from? And the answer I get from these people is that it came from Hurricane Erin somehow, or HARP. And I also get the answer that it was free energy, because Judy Wood, in the title of her book, she talks about free energy technology. And to say that free energy is how they, provided the energy to take down those buildings and the energetics requirements, it's just absurd and ridiculous, because then why did we need to go to Iraq to gain control of the oil and everything else that was involved? If they have free energy, then why are we fighting all these wars over oil and trying to build pipelines through the Caspian Sea and everything else? There's just so much of it that doesn't make sense to me. And
I've always wondered how authentic her support really is.
Right, and I've challenged these people to get on a debate with me and talk with me live like this. Get on a Skype call. We'll go over this all on Skype and record it. We'll have a debate on this. And I have not heard a single one of them who will accept my challenge. And it's on the table anytime they want to do it. I've even had asked other people to have a debate with me and Judy Wood on radio shows, and I've tried to call in on radio shows when she's on. I can never seem to get through on the line to get on air with her and sort of ask her the types of scientific questions that I know she won't be able to answer.
Right, which perhaps betrays their true roles or true purposes.
Yeah, well, not all of them. A lot of people they're just misled, or they don't know any better, and they really believe this stuff for whatever reasons. I don't say that all of them out there who support this are intentionally spreading disinformation. A lot of them are just misinformed or just underinformed and not really knowledgeable about the science and the capabilities and the better evidence that exists out there, and why there'd be an active cognitive infiltration campaign to mislead people away from that.
I invite people to examine the evidence regarding the aircraft attacks, and also want to note that I think one of the aircraft attacks are one of the big stumbling blocks for researchers of the event, because so many have just assumed that what they've been told on television is true. They see the faces of the accused. They assume that a plane has to be flown by a human being in order to be directed anywhere. And this is not true in the case of aviation automation, and it's also unproven in the case of the accused. There's no evidence, hard evidence, that any of them, specifically the ones specifically accused, actually flew the planes as alleged. We always see on retro programs or news broadcasts, Mohammed Atta, Ziad Jarrah, others piloted each plane. The federal government, in fact, does not know this, and they have no hard evidence to support it. But the media runs with the myth, and it's turned into reality through repetition. And I just invite the listener and observer to consider other possibilities and escape the propaganda.
Exactly. Well, thank you for your time. This is Aidan Monahan. He wrote Declassifying 9/11 is his new book. It's got tons of actual documents from government documents regarding 9/11 that were filed through Freedom of Information Acts. And he's pretty much one of the top guys out there that you can talk to for understanding, the planes and the aircraft anomalies that occurred on 9/11. I thank him for his time and the great service that he's doing for our country and the truth.
Thanks a lot, Jeremy.
All right, take care.
Okay, you too. Good talking to you. Thanks again. Look forward to hearing it.
The following interview was conducted at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. on January 10, 2007. Dr. Greg Jenkins of DC 9/11 Truth interviews Dr. Judy Wood of Scholars for 9/11 Truth about her theory that directed energy weapons were used on the WTC towers on 9/11-2001. A short introduction is presented to aid the viewer in accurately assessing a photograph referenced in the interview depicting the South Tower collapse. Here we see the World Trade Center towers as viewed from the west. The South Tower is collapsing while the North Tower remains standing. The smoke generated from oxygen-starved fires, predominantly from the North Tower, blows in a southern direction. No significant amount of debris or dust moves upward during the collapse, as indicated by the partially visible sky between the smoke and falling debris. Here we see a view from the north with World Trade Center Building 7, the North Tower, and the South Tower just before collapsing. Notice that the character of the smoke does not change before collapse, during collapse, or after collapse. The following video clip, filmed from the same perspective, also shows no significant amount of debris or dust moving upward during the collapse. This photograph was taken directly from Dr. Judy Wood's website and is a point of discussion during the interview. The collapse of the South Tower is viewed from the south. The North Tower is obscured by smoke and debris, which is located directly behind the collapsing South Tower. Since we know the height of Building 7, we can correct for perspective and mark the height of the North Tower as well as the South Tower before collapse. Smoke, primarily from the fires in the North Tower, is blowing towards the camera in a southern direction. The following interview is continuous. The audio track is completely unedited. The only editing is the alternating camera views and insertion of relevant pictures.
I'm speaking today with Dr. Judy Wood. She received her BS in Civil Engineering in 1981, MS in Engineering Mechanics in '83, and PhD in Materials Engineering Science in 1992 from the Department of Engineering Science and Mechanics at Virginia Polytech Institute and State University in Blacksburg, Virginia. From 1999 to 2006, Dr. Wood has been an associate professor in Mechanical Engineering Department at Clemson University, South Carolina. Among other skills, she's an expert in the use of Moiré interferometry, a full-field optical method that is used in stress analysis. And I wish to extend my thanks to Dr. Judy Wood for taking time out of her schedule for this interview. And on behalf of our ragtag band called DC 911 Truth, I welcome you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. All right, I guess the first question is you have come up with some ideas regarding space-based weapons and the demolition of the World Trade Center towers. And I was wondering if you could give like an overview of the proposed types of weapons that could be used for such a thing.
We haven't really got into listing them yet, just energy weapons.
In what form?
I don't think we even need to define it. What we did was assemble all the pictures, evidence that we trusted, and just going through the evidence, just looking at it, because at that point what sort of motivated this paper was, wait, we've been told this story, that story, that story. Let's wipe the slate clean and start over. Let's see what evidence we do believe instead of relying on this rumor mill. You know, we're told about molten metal, but nobody's ever seen a picture of these rivers of molten metal. Let's see if we can find any pictures of it. Let's see what we can see. And so I started just looking through pictures and pictures and pictures. What were they telling me? What's the evidence? Okay. And what categories of information? And you start putting these categories of information together, and it starts building in one direction and eliminating various other possibilities.
Okay, okay. Well, I mean, no matter what the beam that is used in the situation will involve, I guess the term you use is dustification of metal, or I guess another way you could get rid of it.
We're trying to invent a new word.
Yeah, might as well, right?
Well, poof, you know?
Yeah, or the vaporization of the metal in the towers, one or the other. Have you done any energy calculations at all to get a scale for what is involved for doing that?
But we don't need to get distracted by those values. If you look at the pictures and look at the scrap pile when it's all done with, is there any question that the building was Pulverized?
Well, I do have some questions, but you know, I've come up with an energy scale for the problem. If you use, like, say, a photon beam, a laser beam of some kind, you run into some problems, and namely the amount of energy required to evaporate the steel in the towers is.
Wait, you're specifying evaporation.
Sure.
What about dustification? Is that what we're talking about?
You want to talk about dustification?
That's pulverizing the building, just turning turning the building contents into nanodust, we'll call it.
Okay.
Just pulverizing it. Just
right now, I don't know. Maybe has this been done in the laboratory? Has anything been done that would turn steel into dust? Mm-hmm. What?
Various types of energy.
What kind? What kind of
well,
energy?
Let's see. You put something in your microwave oven and leave it on there extra long and see what happens to it.
Well, that's food, right? That's not metal.
Or something else.
If you put metal in the microwave, it will reflect off of it.
Yeah, I haven't tried a fork in there. You're not supposed to, but so I'm waiting for somebody else to do it to see what happens.
You know, it's kind of fun. Also, if you burn a disc, like a CD or something, stick it in the microwave, it makes a nice little show for you. So you might try that. It's kind of a fun thing to do. But the thing is I don't know of a way to dustify steel in any situation, and you know.
Well, let's talk about physical principles.
Okay.
If you heat steel, or let's heat some type of what's the word I'm looking for? You pick some particular kind of element and heat it with a particular vapor pressure.
Okay.
It evaporates.
It evaporates, yes.
Yeah, we're just talking about
Correct.
physical principles now. It will evaporate.
Right.
So if you have enough temperature, enough energy, you can quickly put a lot of energy into something, it'll go poof. It'll evaporate.
Will evaporate, yes.
And if you do that to one surface, maybe the surface right below there, it doesn't necessarily do the same thing to, because there's a different process going on from the direct hit to the indirect hit.
That depends on the heat conduction of
right?
what you're trying to evaporate.
No, not heat conduction. We're talking about an effect on a molecule. Why does the paper towel in your microwave oven not burn when
because
the water
it doesn't
heats
have
up?
water in it.
Right. It does. So the energy does one thing to paper, does another thing to water.
That's because
heat.
microwaves are absorbed by water, and the
right.
paper in the towel is not absorbed by water.
Right.
It has to do with the resonant energy of water.
Right.
Yes.
So if you have some kind of energy you can put into a particular element that excites that particular element.
If you excite an element, you're talking on the order of scales of EV to excite the electrons. If you're talking about a crystal, then you're talking about the bonding energies associated with that crystal. Okay? So if you're talking about steel...
hang on. There's a slide that when I present this information that I've started using. First you figure out what happened. Then you figure out how it happened. Then maybe why it happened, then who did it. But you got to start and do it in that order. You got to figure out what happened.
Okay.
What happened doesn't depend on what you know about. And here's the example I gave at the talk I gave in Seattle. Is okay. Let's say you know of a slingshot, a BB gun, and pick something else, firecracker. That's all you know about. So you can only pick from those if you're going to describe what happened to the Twin Towers. Does that make sense? If you don't know about it, doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Well,
if I figure out what happened first, then how it happened is down the road.
okay, I mean, can we talk about your analysis on what happened?
Okay, that's really where we are right now. Is what happened.
All right.
We don't know the serial number on the gizmo that was used, or what assembly line it came off of, or.
Okay, so one thing that is kind of puzzling to me is that you had calculated the ratio of a building that was the King Dome, All right, and you looked at the ratio that you know, kind of the ratio of before collapse height to the ratio of after collapse height.
Not the height, the mass. The approximate. These are approximate numbers, ballpark numbers.
You come up with 12% or something like that, right? For the before and after collapse height.
There's, let's see, 30 feet. I remember, it's been a long time since I've looked at those numbers.
Okay.
In the Kingdom, I think it was 30 feet, and I think it's like 250 originally.
Well, I have the number, and you quote on your website as it being, it could be 12 point something percent,
Well, see,
but it was about 12%.
That page is in the most rough state possible. You can probably see kind of just half done. We haven't touched that one really since I first started posting it. So that, you know, I'm not even familiar with the numbers now because it's been so long since I looked at it.
That's fair enough.
You know, I haven't done the triple, double checking, but I've looked at general trends, and the general trends, you have a 30 times difference in potential energy. That was the biggest thing I'm focusing on. Now, looking at the rebel pile when you're all done with, let's look at the pictures. You know, exact number, who cares? Let's look at the pictures. You had these little people that look like little tiny ants, this huge, you know, outer edge of the Kingdom.
Correct.
And if you recall, at the World Trade Center, when they had, you know, looking for survivors, and they had the rescue workers,
yes,
they walked horizontally.
Yes.
And they were pulled down.
Right.
They didn't have to climb up over, you know, many times their height.
So in that ratio, you know, if you do look at the numbers and you use your analysis for the Kingdom,
which numbers?
You on your website you had stated a certain average height of the Kingdom before collapse. And,
the centroid.
A certain height.
The centroid of just the outer shape. And it really would have been lower if you look at the actual, I was looking at easy to find numbers, but the error would be in favor of, it would make the 30 times a bigger number.
Oh, it'd even make it bigger than the 12%.
Because I have it as too high already.
I see.
It's actually lower because that roof is very thin.
Yes, it is.
And so if I'm saying just from the shape, you have this cylinder with this spherical cap on it, and I'm saying it all is the same, you know, weight per volume.
Yes.
And that top part's really thin.
Yes.
You're giving it too much benefit, so that's making the
Correct.
centroid
And I agree
too
with
high.
that. I definitely agree. That's a good way to do it.
So the error is in, you know, the 30 is a low number.
Right.
So
Now that on the rim of that, where you take the after collapse height, the rim it's mainly concrete, right? Like the structural concrete.
I'm not talking about the whole volume of the thing. I'm talking about.
I understand.
There's quite a lot of places where somebody measured that. I didn't measure it. According to the reference that I provided,
yes,
that's the number they gave.
Okay.
Then I look at the comparative height. The towers were a whole lot taller to begin with.
Yes, of course.
Like 4 times or so.
The towers were 110 floors, roughly 12 feet, and so they were about 1,350 feet tall.
Or 1368.
Yes.
But I'm trying to. I don't remember exactly like what the equivalent stories is of the other one to compare stories.
If you take your collapse ratio and say it's 12%
wait,
of the height,
we're
then it would be
numbers.
13 or 14 floors that you had come up with on the debris height.
Okay.
I mean, that's what you did on your website.
I haven't looked over that page in a while, and it's half.
I'm just trying to refresh your memory on it.
So, but I thought I'd made some equivalent how many floors the 250 feet was worth at the Kingdom. But in any case, so if it's 13 or 14 floors, if you start looking around the site, is there anything that's that tall?
No, but it didn't collapse in on its footprint either.
True. Why didn't it?
Where
did it collapse?
Where did it collapse? It collapsed in a radius 6 times its footprint.
6 times its footprint?
Yes.
I think it actually, if you want to count its material, it's probably like, a million times its footprint. I mean, it went in the upper atmosphere. Where do you stop counting it? And is it, a mile away, the dust was an inch deep.
I mean, you can take any kind of distribution you want. The rough radius was roughly, makes an area 6 times bigger if you look at the debris coming down off of that building.
But what are you calling debris? Are you calling this nanoparticles? And then it's so
nanoparticles.
Or the very, very ultrafine dust that's in the upper atmosphere for months.
The dust was an average of 70 microns large.
Of
it
what?
wasn't
Which
that
dust?
small.
Wait, which dust?
Of all the dust in the that was sampled
But,
by USGC.
but what they sampled, did they sample the stuff in the upper atmosphere?
I didn't see a lot of dust go up into the upper atmosphere. I saw it all come down first, and then it spread out at that point. So as it's coming down,
maybe you
can
should
get
review the pictures.
I have reviewed the pictures.
See, in the video I have of the Kingdom, right where the roof height is,
Yes.
that's about the highest the dust comes up. When the thing goes poof, it goes down, it goes out sideways. It doesn't go up in the upper atmosphere. And then if you look at, well, even Jim's pictures he showed tonight, the fingers coming up, they go up and up and up.
A lot of that was the oxygen star fire that was going up into the upper atmosphere because it was there even before and during the collapse.
There was some smoke bombs going off.
Well, there was. My point is not really what it was, but that it was there before and after the collapse.
So after the quote collapse, you have these ultrafine dust going in the upper atmosphere. How long does that oxygen star fire survive in the upper atmosphere?
How do you know it was ultrafine dust, and what do you mean by that?
Why is it going up?
Because of the hot air. I mean, it's not really the issue. I mean, we were talking about the radius of the collapse field.
Have you seen some of the satellite images where it's like...
I've got pictures right here.
It goes
if you
over...
would like to see them.
I mean, it covers like the East Coast, the eastern seaboard.
Right. Eventually it does because of diffusion and just the heat of the energy being expelled will make that expand out. Okay. Now, if you look at this...
Expand out or goes directly up?
There's one picture. That's taken off your website.
Thank you. This is a good example. It's going straight up. Imagine that.
Well, that was smoke that was there before the collapse.
Wait, down here on the 50th floor or 40th floor? I thought the fire was up at the 80th floor. Oh, sorry. I thought the fire was up at the 80th floor.
Well,
so
I know all that dust that's in that picture right there. That dust was there before the collapse because that's the smoke coming from the fire.
No, but this is a 40-story building, so this is like emanating. It appears from like the 50th floor.
What's emanating from the 50th floor?
The stuff that's going up.
How do you know the stuff emanating from the 50th floor is going up? You can't tell.
It's not going down.
A lot of stuff going down in that picture. That's my whole point.
Wait, you just got around in a circle. You're saying it was there before the tower went poof. But the tower was in good condition up till like 70th floor or whatever it was up there.
Yeah, it wasn't that high.
I didn't see any fire down here.
Could we go back to the original point? I mean,
but this is what you're asking about here.
I'm asking about the radius that the debris falls on the ground.
Wait a minute, because this wasn't working for you. You wanted to change to another subject. Let's stay with this one. See,
no.
Here, because the dust is going straight up. Well, that's where we came from, because you were saying the dust all went down, and I'm saying the dust goes up, and I'm using this picture to emphasize that it goes up. Here's about where the 50th floor would be. If that's a 40-story building, the 50th floor is probably right around in there, and it looks like all the stuff coming up is coming from that. So where's the rest of the building?
Well,
oh, wait a minute. You're saying it burned up in 4 seconds? 5 seconds?
I didn't say the building burned up. I said there was smoke from the fires that went up.
But if there were some fires were up here. I mean, this is 50 stories, so where would that make 110 stories? Like up here?
It wouldn't be that high, no.
Well, we don't see the bottom of the building.
But you know roughly what the width of the building is.
Somewhere
you know
around
that
here.
ratio.
There's somewhere up here. It's off the page.
The width of the building is 200 meters, and the height is like 1,300 meters.
1368, and we don't see the bottom here. The bottom's down there somewhere. So if this is a 40-story building here, let's get this building. We don't see the bottom. It's probably about that big. That's now we're up to the 80th floor. So it's going to be about somewhere in there.
Okay.
So if you have something up here, and that's where the fire was, why is the smoke coming from down here? Is that smoke, why would it be coming from down here?
I don't know why smoke would be
And
coming from down
where did
there.
this part of the building go?
From that picture, it looks like a lot of it goes down. Right.
Where is it going down?
Well, you don't see any parts of the building going down there?
Well, I see that we have about 1/3 of the building left, and 2/3 of the building is missing. And there's not enough volume of this snowball, I call it, to account for 2/3 of the building.
So, what's going down? Is there any debris falling?
I don't see anything that's really falling much
You don't
yet.
see any debris falling from the buildings.
I see a round snowball. I call this a snowball because
I
it's
see.
nice round and it's light colored.
Okay, so there's no debris falling in that picture.
I didn't say no debris.
Oh, how much debris?
That's it. I don't.
What debris is falling in that picture?
I see some.
No,
I don't have a magnifying glass. Sorry.
Oh, is that small? You can't tell what's falling from the picture?
Below this point here, I don't really see much of any difference. This looks like a building in good health. There's a little bit of a cloud of haze there, but I don't see any major material, and the building is still completely intact from this point down at that moment, below the snowball.
So you really don't see any falling debris there?
Are you asking these questions for sincere, honest purposes?
I
or
really
is it-
am. And this is sincere. I mean, I see falling debris in that picture, and I'm wondering. I can't fathom why you don't see falling debris in that picture. It's hard for me to understand. That's all. Because maybe I don't understand what
I'm not
exactly
saying
you're trying
there's
to say.
absolutely no debris, because somebody may have had some like pennies on their windowsill that fell out that they might be falling down, but it's not a significant volume of material.
I see. Okay.
Because if this snowball right here is about a little bit, it's bigger than the width of the building, and about that same amount in height. So it's a little bit wider, so you can't say it's the density of the building.
No, you can't say it's the density of the building.
It's less dense. So we're missing 2/3 of the building already.
Yes.
Where did it go?
I don't know. I saw it go down, but maybe I don't remember seeing the videos right or something.
But I don't see it below that point.
Yeah, that's because this is a film. This is a picture shot before the whole building collapses, during the collapse.
Collapse? If it was a collapse, I would expect it, to see the material piled up. If it was going to be a collapse, if this is like 2/3 of the building, compact might that
Now,
be?
remember
Be a
the
standard
ratio of the
big?
building is 200 meters wide by 130 meters tall. Okay?
Correct.
Yeah, all right.
But you have this perspective of, depth of the picture. I'm just going by, this is a 40-story building,
Yes.
and its bottom is below the picture. That's 40 stories, that's 40 stories, so 110 is up to here.
Uh-huh.
So between here and here, you have a whole lot of building to account for.
Yes.
And it's
You do.
207 or 208 feet wide, all the way up to that point. But it's still, it's 2/3 the height.
The width is 2/3 the height?
No. The amount that's missing is 2/3 of the height.
Okay, all right.
It's missing, and this snowball can't account for it all. Where'd it go?
Well, I'm not sure if I'm not sure if that accounts for it all. I saw a lot of debris go down from that building, and based on that picture, it seems plausible to me that most of the building is within that debris.
Was there a pyroclastic flow that happened?
No.
It hasn't gotten down to any point to flow anywhere yet. It's just this material here is all that's left except for what's gone up.
So is the pyroclastic flow included in the debris moving out? That's not
I wouldn't really
included
call this a
in the
pyroclastic flow. I would call this explosions.
Yeah.
This part of the building is being exploded
You were
outward.
both disagreeing on the amount of debris, how far it went away. I
Mm-hmm.
just wondered if you include that as debris
Well,
moving away from the
Okay,
building.
what I'm saying is there's not much building left.
Right.
So it doesn't matter, I'm not saying exactly what radius it goes to. You have inch-deep dust a mile or two away. Do you count that? It gets spread all over the place. But what I see in this picture is we don't have much building left. And it has yet to hit the ground.
Okay.
Glad you brought this. This is my favorite picture.
Oh, excellent. I'm glad. Well, I mean, I guess that accounts for why you put it on your website. Okay. All right. So, for any kind of beam weapon, okay, to annihilate the steel or anything like that, you would have to pump in a certain amount of energy to do that.
Depends on what wavelength or wavelengths you're going to use.
No, the energy doesn't depend on the wavelength.
It does, to the extent of how efficient that energy is with that material.
Okay. All right. So if you pump in, say, laser light to heat the building up.
Yeah, I think of how much energy it takes to heat a cup of coffee in my microwave versus heat that same water on the stove. Different amounts of energy.
True. That's because we know that the microwave is exciting the resonant energy of the water to heat your coffee.
The heat is exciting the water too.
Right, but it still takes the same amount of energy to heat that coffee, no matter how much energy
but you're
you
losing,
lose.
But it's a lot less efficient.
Okay, if you assume that you don't lose any energy at all, okay, and you vaporize steel, you can calculate what energy is involved in vaporizing steel. It doesn't matter how you do it.
Yes, it does.
No, that would only increase the number.
How about if you heat a wire up by putting a resistance across it versus putting a fire next to it?
The minimum amount of energy to evaporate a wire by fire, by electric current, by anything.
We're not talking about evaporation. This is like kind of being silly. You start out the sentence talking about dustification, then you're talking about beam energy, what magnitude of energy.
No.
Then it's about vaporization.
This is not me. This is from your website. This is you saying these things.
I'm talking about the data on my website.
Okay.
I'm not making calculations for how much it took for anything, because I don't think we should get distracted with that.
Conservation of energy is not a distraction.
Is this pulverized?
I see falling debris there. Now maybe it's not. Maybe that's a different picture or something of something else. I don't know.
The building's pulverized. And you see when the story's over with at the end of the day, you don't have much building left anywhere. Buildings are gone. Like, let's look at Building 6, for example. You have these big holes with nothing in them. Where did the material go?
If you melted down all the steel in the concrete...
Wait.
No, I'm just going to make an example.
Where'd it go?
If you melt down all the steel in the...
You're changing the subject.
No, I'm not. I'm really not. If you bear with me, you'll see that I'm not. In the top 110 floors of the building, if you melted down the steel, okay, into its footprint, it would only be 6 feet tall. It'd be one slab, the cross-sectional area of the building,
How about the concrete?
6 feet tall.
How about the bookcase and so forth? It'd be more than 6 feet tall.
Not much. Not if you melted it all down. Okay, I'm just saying that is the amount of steel.
Is that what you said? Oh, you said melted steel.
That is the amount of steel in the building. So those buildings really were mostly empty space by volume. So you have to do some analysis.
Is dust denser than solid steel, or is it
of
less
course
dense?
Not. It's much less dense.
So how much should we have?
How much of what should we have? Of steel or of concrete?
This is not productive. It's not educational.
It's educational for me.
What's the subject now? Is it steel? Is it concrete? Or is it dust?
You choose, please.
This is a game that you're playing.
I'm really not playing a game. I'm just trying to figure out what it is you had on your website. I'm just asking questions regarding...
What is your question? Ask the question, and we stay on that subject through the whole sentence.
Through the whole sentence, eh?
See if you can handle that.
Okay, I'll see if I can handle that. Okay. Let's see. All right. The buildings collapsed in a larger area than their footprint. Would you agree with that statement or not?
No.
No.
They did not collapse.
How big was the debris field?
We covered that already.
What was your answer? I didn't catch your answer.
Couldn't there be an answer that they collapsed and they would pulverize at the same time? Both things happened?
That's very misleading. Collapse.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
You can't say one or the other because, in my view, I see a lot of pulverization, but I see a little bit of collapse too.
All right. Well, I really appreciate your time. Thank you very, very much for clarifying some of these issues, and I certainly have learned a lot here. I think the people that will view this video will have learned a lot as well. Thank you very, very much.
To see how welcoming I am to questions, to playing games.
I don't think it was a game. It wasn't a game to me. So, but I do appreciate your time and your patience for answering my questions. Thank you.
Oh, you want the picture? Good.
Well, sure.
Hey, study it.
I'm not protecting any interests. I was just trying to see what kind of scientific basis this was in, and I think I found out.
All right, well, let's try to get in another call. We've got Brian in Massachusetts. You're on late night in the Midlands. A lot of Brian's tonight.
Hey, how you doing? Judy Wood, how you doing? It's an honor to talk to you.
Hi, Brian.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah, I just have a few questions for you. I've gone down a lot of the 9/11 rabbit trails, and there's just so many conspiracy theories to follow and stuff. And I actually, there was a phone call that I heard from Jesse Ventura, actually talking very highly of your book, and I decided to look at some of your stuff. I have a few questions about some of the things that a lot of your work is, like all those cars that are blown up outside the World Trade Center. A lot of those cars, to me, I mean, I don't see how an energy weapon does that. Those cars look like they came straight from the junkyard. Like they don't have any license plates on them or anything like that. I mean, are we sure these are legit images that we're looking at? What if we're seeing with these cars blown up aren't really, legit images, and you're basing this off of that?
I call them toasty cars, not blown up cars. Toasted cars, toast, they're history. You can't fix it. You got to get another one. You can't repair it, so it's toast. I'm not defining what exactly happened to it. Whether it's not a conventional fire, and it didn't explode. Lit up, but I've got pictures of the car before, during, and after it's being toasted. That with one car, I didn't see the before picture until later on. I thought it was a white car. It was a black car beforehand. But it's just the sea of unburned paper between these cars and the WTC complex. The paper didn't catch fire, but the car just kind of lit up in spontaneous combustion. The apparent spontaneous combustion.
Right. And we lost Brian. I just want to make let Brian know if you want to get that other question, then you can call back in. I'll put you back on. I don't know what happened. I didn't
the connection seemed kind of, the connection seemed like it was dropping in and out, so it's the bandwidth problem or something.
Okay. So basically, people have said, you hear all different kinds of stories. So, the cars blew up and this and that, but they didn't actually blow up. I mean, the gas tanks were intact, correct?
Yeah, and that's another thing that makes it different from regular car fires. Car fires, you see a missing, lid for the gas tank, and, it looks like it's blown out. But see, the gas tank lid is still in place and pristine, in the back of the police car, it's, looks like it has a new wax job on it. There's plenty of people who have opinions. There's lots of opinions, but it doesn't come with discussing, a particular piece of evidence. There's also people who don't like the results, don't like the conclusions, and want to make up a new conclusion or something, and because they mostly maybe can't handle this, so they try to find every explanation they can think of. And my brother was that way for a while. He's trying to find any possible explanation to the point of, thermally eating pigeon poop on the cars a half mile away. They're really trying hard. Like, okay, how do you ignite it? Oh, maybe the guy came by with a cigar and.
Yeah. We got Brian back, so Brian, I'm going to bring you back on. Okay, you had another.
I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
I had a lot of issues.
Okay.
I had a few questions. Like, why if they use this high-tech, weaponry, this directed, why is it that would totally obliterate all the content inside the building, except for, paper? What is it about paper that makes it so it doesn't get destroyed? I know that might sound like an odd question, but, what's the significance that it wouldn't destroy all that paper that was offline for the
Let's look at some differences we have with paper and other things. Paper usually isn't very conductive. Paper is usually flying around and isn't easy to contact in something much either.
But people stored in file cabinets inside the towers when they first got hit and got dustified or whatever?
But if a file cabinet kind of get, tossed about, the stuff's going to come out of it. I'm just, looking at, possibilities that paper seems to be kind of free floating. And it could be conductive, Like you can put a paper towel, as long as it's dry, if you put a paper towel in your microwave oven, it doesn't heat up.
Okay. Now, in your opinion, I mean, how many buildings exactly were dustified on that day, on 9/11? How many World Trade Center buildings were?
Wait, I'm not. This isn't an opinion. This is I go by evidence. And there were 7 buildings destroyed that day, and there was an 8th one that was infected, and they repaired it, and then they realized it still had a problem, so they ended up taking it apart, taking it back down. That's Baker's Trust. You know, they repaired Baker's Trust, and then they decided to dismantle it.
Yeah. So, do you think that I mean, this weapon is so powerful that it could actually justify not only these 2 huge skyscrapers, and as we know, there were other World Trade Center complex buildings that, I mean, a lot of people don't even know about. A lot of people know about 1, 2, and 7, but I mean, there was 4, 5, 6. I mean, there was a bunch of buildings that got destroyed by that day. Obviously, it wasn't 2 airplanes that took it out. I mean, obviously. I mean, that's just a preposterous tale. But do you think that, you know, that's why there's no remains? There's no remains because everything just got totally inside the building. Like, how strong is this weapon to be able to do that? I would think that there would need to be, you know, just multiple. I don't want to say lasers, because I know that's not the term you use like directed energy. I would think there would need to be, hundreds of these weapons at once. Yep.
Yeah, this isn't a line of sight type of directed energy weapon. This isn't like lasers, lasers, and that type of thing. This is field interference of field effects. But it's defined as to what, you know, area it's going to be affecting. So it's very.
No, I know what you mean. It doesn't have to have a direct line like aiming on the tower, but even with like, you know, intersecting energy fields or whatever it would do, wouldn't it take the power of just like so many of these weapons to take those buildings down like that?
I'm looking at the evidence. I don't look at the conclusions and look backwards. I'm looking at the evidence to see what happened. Empirical evidence shows that the towers were turned to dust. And you know, there's this common argument that people would come up with saying, well, no weapon could be that powerful. So what? Do you think the towers are still there? Yeah, like there's this Greg Jenkins, gimmick that he has to make assumptions in order to calculate how much energy would be required. But the free energy device, hey, it gives energy. It doesn't use energy. But you know, if you were saying it took 5 times the Earth's total output of energy, and well, then that means the towers are still there then. Or is he saying that the energy came from outer space, or what? But in order to calculate how much energy would be required, you're making assumptions. You're speculating on what the mechanism was. I'm not speculating. I am just stating empirical evidence. The towers turned to dust. We don't need to know how it happened in order to determine that it did happen.
I'm going to take a caller in the 978 area code. What's your first name? You're live on the Pete Santilli Show with Dr. Judy Wood.
Hi, Judy. How are you doing?
It's Dr. Judy Wood. There you go. And what's your first name, sir?
My name is Brian Stavely. I run a website called The Real News Online.
Hey, Brian. Brian, what question do you have for Dr. Judy? We're going to be short for time here, going to a break. But what's your question for?
I'll try to keep it brief. Then I agree with Judy on certain aspects of 9/11, like maybe airplane crashes being fake and things like that. But as far as her theory on how the towers were taken down, what is her biggest what would you say, Judy, is your biggest slam dunk piece of evidence to prove that the towers were destructed in that way, and rather not, and I know what the whole Dustified thing and it's missing all the contents and stuff, but what if those contents just simply weren't there and those buildings were demoed and there was no high-tech weapon? What is your slam dunk thing that makes you believe that it was a DEW weapon used that day? Because I just don't see it anywhere.
I don't deal with beliefs. I don't deal with theories. I deal with evidence. So if you're not aware of that, maybe you haven't looked at my work or looked at my book.
We're going to go to a break. Hold that thought, okay? When we come back from the break, we will finish the answer to that question.
Now you and...
Sorry about that. We were cut short. So, we'll continue on after the break, obviously. But, by the way, the next mark, I don't know, actually, your time should be pretty good on your computer. The next break will come up, by the way, at the 39-minute mark. Okay, Dr. Judy?
Okay.
Okay, just wanted to let you know. So, the first one is at the 18-minute mark.
I should have read my thing on my desktop.
That's okay. No, that's quite all right. That's quite all right. This will happen. Actually, sometimes I'll train wreck it. And thank you very much, Daniel, for giving me the quick cue, because I would have slammed it. Okay, and we are also during the breaks, as you know, we're on the back stream. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get in the queue, we have a bunch of callers. So if you want to get in, call 218-339-8525. All right, and then Dr. Judy, we will. I want to come out of the break. I do want to mention something to all of our listeners, who understand the importance of. And I believe that it's important and I always call you Dr. Judy Wood, do I not? Even in our personal communication. Yes. Always. I make it a point because, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the quote-unquote PSYOP, okay? The PSYOP, one of the techniques for decredentializing, basically taking her from her lapel, all of her credentials, all the work she's done her entire life. It's a method by which you can psychologically strip Dr. Judy Wood's credentials in everyone's mind by just calling her Judy, okay? So we, as an awakened group of individuals, we battle that by calling her Dr. Judy Wood to establish credibility for the evidence that she has brought forward to the public. And she's very, very credentialized, correct, Dr. Judy?
Yes, and it's not just having the degrees; it's having the experience. Mm-hmm. And what have you produced? Mm-hmm. And after all, how long has it been? And no one was saying that the building's turned to dust until I've been pushing it for how many years?
That's right.
I mean, it's right in your face.
That's right. And now I've recognized this when you shared it with me, and I've noticed the subtleties. But the subtleties are the most important part of the PSYOP, I believe, that exist out there. But those little subtle remarks like that, if everyone, and they're all told, I think they're given bullet points, talking points as to what to do, to refer to you to, Judy only. Because it strips you of your status in the 9/11 investigation.
Makes me the same as a small child. I was taught that referring to somebody by their first name without their permission is like what you do with small children.
That's right. That's right. And Susanna Cole.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Did you know you were unmuted?
I am now. Yes.
No, I just wanted to let you know. I didn't know if you knew.
Yeah, I am muted during the break. Is that okay?
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me? I just wanted to make sure you knew.
Yes.
Are you during the break? Of course you're going to unmute.
Sure.
Yes.
I have something to say.
All right, go. Yeah. Say it.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. All right.
I'm listening right now.
What I was going to say is this comment. It seems like nowadays, an opinion and a like button makes someone think that they're an expert.
Yes.
That's right.
They don't have to have any understanding, any background in any particular area. They just, have to have an opinion.
Right.
And
25 seconds.
Referring to me as Judy puts me on the same level as somebody with just an opinion and a like button or dislike button.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
Now, we have 10 seconds here, and I'm going to bring Brian back up here, and we'll continue, but I do want to mention the visualization. Here we go.
Be sure to tune in to Greenwave Radio every Tuesday and Thursday from 3 to 5 p.m. Central on American Freedom Radio. Hard-hitting and in your face, America.
This is Mr. E, and you're listening to the Pete Santilli Show. Telling you the truth, whether you like it or not.
Okay, we're back, ladies and gentlemen, and let's see. All right, if you are interested in calling in, 218-339-8525. Everyone that was on hold was just cleared from the screen somehow, some way, miraculously cleared from the screen. And I know who you are because I know who you are. But that's okay. 218-339-8525. If you can call back in, we will open the lines back up for you. But this is very important that I mention to all the callers that are going to be calling in. If you would, please understand the following, what I'm about to share with you. I learned this early on. That in the, let's say, the chat rooms on the internet, and all the discussion rooms in AE 9/11 Truth, we call them the opposition, those that are essentially attempting to cover up the evidence from 9/11, especially what is contained in the book, Where Did the Towers Go? One technique, one of the talking points for everyone that they've been given, it's a technique as part of the PSYOP called credentialism. Credentialism is to, let's say, refer to a gentleman named Stephen Jones as Dr. Stephen Jones, or Stephen Jones PhD, or whatever his status is. I don't quite know, and I don't focus too heavily on that. But by stripping Dr. Judy Wood of her title, her appropriate title, it indicates what her expertise is. Obviously, she's got a background, but when they strip the name Dr. Judy Wood and they call her Judy, it's a means of creating an impression psychologically in everyone's mind that she's less qualified to be discussing 9/11 evidence and truth. Isn't that the case, Dr. Judy?
Oh, very much. And it essentially puts me on the same level as, a 10-year-old with an opinion.
That's right. We have all our callers back. I want to bring Brian back. Unfortunately, there was an error there. And Brian, I don't know if you heard that. You had referred to her. Now, obviously, we as a community of individuals that understand what the PSYOP is that has been perpetrated upon us, we come together and say, you know what, we're going to refer to Dr. Judy Wood as Dr. Judy Wood. But let's go back to your question, Dr. Brian. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm gonna give Dr. Judy Wood the opportunity to answer your question. There you go, Dr. Judy.
I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks. You mentioned about a theory, and if by theory you mean speculation, there's no speculation in my work. I build a case on evidence, like a detective solving a crime. What I present is conclusive evidence, and being conclusive evidence, it puts an end to all of the debating by reason of irrefutability.
Does that answer your question, Brian?
Sort of. You would know. I'm not saying anybody knows the complete truth of 9/11. I sure don't. I'd love to. But
you don't know that.
That your work has.
Oh, sorry about that. Go ahead and finish that.
You can't say that unless you know that. What's your evidence on that? If you haven't read my book, you don't know what happened.
That's right. It's important to do that. Now, also, another thing that we're going to discuss is going to be very important to communicate this, Dr. Judy, because we talk about the so-called PSYOP, and a lot of people are not familiar with the term PSYOP. But there are subtleties, such as decredentializing. There's also subtleties in the way that we take the information about 9/11, and we use certain terms because people will see a building, quote unquote, coming down. We'll say that. We'll use that term. But by calling it a collapse, it creates a certain impression in your mind. If you're referring to what you've observed on television with the two towers as a collapse, it will imply in everyone's mind those towers were collapsing, when in fact they turned to dust in midair. So we use a different term, correct?
Right. We've not seen that before, so we don't have a word in our vocabulary that defines that. So we need a new word. Dustification. That's right, dustification.
So as we proceed here today, we're going to talk about those methods, and of course I'm going to take calls as we go. In the 305 area code, you are live on the P. Santilli Show with Dr. Judy Wood.